Minister, what is the goal of this operation? To overthrow democratically elected president of Ukraine, Zelensky? What is the plan to stop the operation? You see, you don't want to occupy Ukraine, but when Russia will bring in pro-Russian government, how will you withdraw troops? Oh, such a serious journalist, representative of such a serious media outlet, haven't even familiarized himself with the address made by President Putin from early last morning. Can he hear us? Yes, you can go on. All the answers to all the questions you have just raised are there in his address. And once again, I would like to draw your attention that everything was absolutely clear there. We see no chance of recognizing a government as democratic that uses genocide against their own people. Just tell me, to have a better understanding of your positions that you used to cover the current developments. Does democratic society that stands for democratic values and so on, do they accept actions on banning the language that is spoken by the huge part of the population, majority of the population actually? Do this democracy that you represent make decision about banning education in Russian language, or be it any language that people speak, starting from grade 5, for example, or ban using a mother tongue in everyday life, including in stores, including in talking in hotels or in other public spaces? And do democratic societies have this habit to declare that people who are now live a certain land in Ukraine now are not people, they are not humans, they are species, as President Zelensky put it? We just remember today during our talks how President Poroshenko, when he was elected president, how he promised after democratic election, how he promised to treat his own people. He said, in Ukraine that we control, we are going to have everything: schools, kindergartens, food, welfare, and flourishing. And these ones, and he was pointing at Donbass, are going to sit in the basements. They will rot in these basements. And something like that was also said by President Zelensky when he demanded that those people who think themselves part of the Russian culture, they should go away from Ukraine. For example, if in Ireland, if they prohibited English language, what would the UK think about it? Or if in Belgium they would have forbidden French language? I can't imagine that a law like that would last for more than a couple of days or even hours. But in the West, they only see it through the prism of their own egoistical interest. So when you are accused of something, you start to make all this ruckus. But when language, cultural, religious rights of millions, many millions of people in Ukraine are being violated, you focus not on human rights. You talk about democratically, so-called democratic regime that does that. So read Putin's address. No one is going to occupy Ukraine. The goal of this operation is there in the open, to demilitarize and denazify, because constant torch marches, constant honoring Nazi officials, introducing Nazi habits as part of these so-called volunteer battalions. It is all done with the tacit agreement from the media outlets. And I can't help but mention that one reporter from CNN is doing something at the former engagement line, and he's traveling across Ukraine. But all these 8 years, no one, no Western company, including media outlets, respected media outlets presented here, they didn't cover what happened at the engagement line consistently. Whereas what happened at the militia front line. 24/7, we had our journalists who showed the actual truth, how the civilian infrastructure was destroyed, how women and children are killed, how they shell sites that in any situation must be protected, first of all. Otherwise, it is defined as the war crime. Just like NATO aviation bombed Belgrade, and they were aiming knowingly the civilian trains on the bridges. They knowingly aimed the television stations. So Ukraine regime could use this as example. But what would be the result of all that is happening now? We will see, depending on the circumstances. As President Putin said, he reaffirmed one more time that we are interested in seeing Ukrainian people independent. We want them to have the government that would represent all the people in all their versatility. And we don't want to have a situation when it is run from abroad, externally, and this management, this control wants to encourage neo-Nazism, genocide of Russians, and they want to use Ukraine as a tool of containing Russia.